Today we're going to start learning about the Pythagorean Theorem. The first thing we're going to do is understand the different types of sides of a right triangle. The Pythagorean Theorem only really deals with right triangles that have right angles. Now when we're looking at a right triangle, and let me go ahead and add our little key that shows that we have a right triangle. So this now is our buddy right triangle with our right angle. We are going to name the sides of the right triangle. So when we have a right triangle, we have two legs, and they are on each side of that right triangle. They are adjacent. That means they touch the right triangle. Do you guys see that? They're right in between. Now, so we have two legs of a triangle, but then across from that right angle, always the side that it's across, usually the slant is what we like to call it, that is actually called the hypotenuse. Silly word, but that means it is the longest side of a right triangle, and it is across from that right angle. Okay, so that's going to help us a lot over here. Now let's talk about the Pythagorean theorem itself. It is a formula that we will be using over and over. It is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, we don't know what a or b or c are, okay? So we're going to start labeling them. Now, a and b, when you add up the squares of them, it should equal the square of c. So our legs are actually a and b. Okay, you can interchange them. It does not matter which one is A, which one is B, but the legs, the squares of them have to be added to equal C. Now, using process of elimination, you should get that the hypotenuse is C. C is always the hypotenuse. So that should help you out when you're trying to figure out, okay, so where do I plug C in for? It's always going to be the longest side, the side that's across from the right angle. So we're going to go ahead and start learning out how to find the angle for the hypotenuse, the longest side of a triangle, of a right triangle. So let's write down our steps that we should have. So first off, step one, write down the Pythagorean theorem. Write down the Pythagorean theorem. All right, so that's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Then, step two, we're going to label a, b, and c on the triangle. So we're going to get a picture of a triangle, and we have to label which sides are a, b, and c. Now, step three is we're going to substitute the values of A and B into the equation, and we'll see how that works in a minute. Okay, and then our step four is what we do with all equations. We're going to solve for the missing variable, and it's going to be C, because we just talked about it. The hypotenuse, which is what we're solving for, is always going to be C. All right, so make sure you write these steps in, and we're going to use these steps when we are going to do our different examples, which we're going to start doing right now. So our first example is